Biscuits. Welcome back to the channel. Is autumn spice in the air blowing out of the SUV windows of all the soccer mommies? Yes, yes it is. Can you see the thigh-high boots, the giant fedoras, which probably aren't even fedoras because that's a different type of hat, and the scarves, even if it's not quite cold enough yet? Yes, you can, because it's the fall season. Da 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 da. Did you enjoy coming along camping with us? That was so much fun. That vlog took, I had to like just sit down and edit it. It took such a long period of time to edit because I had so many little clips that I'd taken. But I wanted to bring you along because it was just such a, okay, it seems like everyone that I follow on YouTube, that I watch videos of regularly, everybody's saying cozy autumn. Like that's in every single title. I literally opened up my page this morning to watch stuff and like, I think 8 out of 10 videos had cozy autumn or cozy fall in the title. So I was gonna say it was a very cozy camping trip. It was a fun camping trip. We ended up having to call it a day short, which I don't think I really included in the video because it was so chaotic. And we ended up, all of my siblings and my nephews and everybody had to sleep on the floor of our relative that lives on the island because a gale force windstorm came in with rain, and it was much colder than well, I shouldn't say much colder than we anticipated. Our kids' reaction to how cold it was much worse than we thought. And so my sister and I sat down together and we were like, you know, how did your kids sleep? And we both shared our horror stories and went, okay, it's time to call our relative and be like, I'm sorry, we're showing up, and you just have to let us in. They were very good natured out of it. They were ready to kick us on out, like, okay, everybody leave the next morning, but they let us stay. So I think I pulled down the tent and got everything packed in like 15 minutes or less, which is, I don't know how I did that. I was just like, okay, it's time to go, let's go, before the actual gale force winds came in. And then we got stuck on the island with nowhere to stay because if we had stayed any longer, then it would have been difficult to get home on the ferry. Because I heard some people had difficulty with it, with how rough the water was. So it turned out into a bigger adventure than I thought it was gonna be, but it was really fun. And it was nice to do, we've done sibling camping trips before, and you probably have seen the vlogs here because I've posted them on here. But I feel like this is our most successful one, whereas like the least amount of people, you know, emotional toes weren't stepped on. Everybody had a pretty good time. Yeah, I feel like, and maybe I'm the one that makes camping trips with all the siblings miserable because I'm not an expert camper. I'm not even like a regular camper. I camp for Abraham because he loves it. So I think that I finally like actually brought the right equipment and figured out how to do it on my own without having to ask for help, and that let everybody have a better time. So maybe I'm the one that makes it difficult. I don't know. It was a good trip, but I just thought I'll share that because I don't know why. I just thought it was a funny story to tell. But it did bring me up to, this is a really long-winded way. How long have I been talking? Oh my goodness, I'm sorry, Biscuits, that was long. I'm just gonna leave it in. That's what was on my mind. But it did bring me into how to have more happiness in your fall, right? I don't know why this is happiness, but it's like really aggressive East Coast happiness, like you're gonna be happy. Happiness into your fall. So I know some people that really hate the fall season because it triggers their seasonal affective disorder. I don't quite get triggered until winter time. I would say like November, December is when my seasonal affective disorder stuff, you know, kind of like just feeling sluggish and down, because this time of year is still sunny, you know, 2 or 3 days a week. And it's not getting dark at 3:30 yet. So it's not my big trigger point, but it definitely lets me know logically that the season is coming upon me, right? And so I have to put in a little bit more extra effort this time of year to, you know, have good mental health, to reduce anxiety, reduce, you know, flare-ups of any kind of panic attacks or stressors or anything. November is a month where, and it's coming up quickly, isn't it? Oh my God, it's gonna be here in a month. Where I know that I tend to get like respiratory things, so that always stresses me out because my whole family always just ends up sick in November. So last year was the first November, and knock on wood, that we did not all end up ridiculously sick. It seems like every November it takes us all out. So we're gonna try to stay healthy this year and upbeat. And ways that I'm staying happier is I'm really trying to get outside, which I have been horrendous of the last couple days. I've just been inside like working and taking care of baby, and I feel bad for Abraham because I know he wants to go outside. Last night we went for an evening walk. I pushed dinner back by a little bit so we could just do an hour walk around the neighborhood. And it was so good to just get out and get some fresh air. That is such a mood increaser. It just makes me so much happier. And if you have young kids, which I know the majority of you do, it really helps them get out their wiggles before bedtime. If you can manage it, after dinner is my favorite time to get kids to go walking because it's great for everybody's blood sugar and it just gets them ready for bed. With my little just now 7-month-old, yeah, she's just now 7 months, her bedtime conflicts with that. So I've done that before, and then she wakes back up when I transition her from the carrier. So depending on your age of kids, but sometime in the evening, either before dinner or after, it depends on bedtimes, a walk is a wonderful way to get outdoors. And you don't have to drive anywhere. Don't get in the car, just walk around, you know. It could be around the block in a couple circles. It doesn't have to be a big thing, just something nice that lets everybody breathe some fresh air. Another thing I'm doing is I'm really trying to get out this month. I'm going to go apple picking. I will bring you along biscuits. We haven't done that yet, but that's our plan. We're going to drive up, I think, and do a pumpkin patch that I've really been wanting to do. And I almost did it last year, and I don't remember why we didn't. Maybe we were just on like such lockdown. So we're going to do that, and I'm going to try to get some of my siblings to come along for that because Abraham loves his cousins. And I think we're going to do maybe another nature hike. It's just like a fun kind of homeschool field trip. I've been signing up for some kid kind of, not quite homeschool, but like kids can play outdoors and go for walks, and there's like a little nature interpreter kind of person. So I think we're going to do that, and we're really going to try to do fun nature field trips. And I know field trip sounds like school curriculum or homeschool curriculum, which I do like to add in the homeschool stuff without Abraham quite noticing. I will admit that. I'm not ashamed to. But I also think that as mamas, right, we need to have mama field trips. And maybe that's a silly phrase, but it's just how I think of it in my mind. I'm like, well, you know, I'm in mom school, right? I'm learning how to be a mom because it's a constant lesson. On a deeper level than one can really explain, right? You mamas and daddies know what I mean. But mama field trips, right? Parent field trips where we are getting outside, we're doing something fun, maybe we're learning something new. I love an interpretive plaque. I will admit it. I drive Abraham crazy because I try to read the interpretive plaques. I'm genuinely curious. But think of things that will be fun, outdoor for now, mama field trips, right? And then I'll do another video on some of my indoor ideas for field trips. It kind of depends on your area. I'll kind of talk about the Seattle area, like Western Washington in general, but I think most areas have something you can do indoors, and if not, we can make our own field trips inside. But for now, while the weather is still kind of transitional and it hasn't gotten super cruddy yet, it will. We've had multiple days of rain now. We had that gale force rainstorm thing, but it's still nice enough where I really try to take advantage of that, because we even had a 70-degree day the other day. I'm like, oh, where did this come from? Okay. I remember last year, I think I brought you biscuits along. I did, yes, I did. I went apple picking with my sister-in-law and her kiddo and Abraham, and it ended up, and I had like my fall outfit on. I was going to take some photos for Instagram. My poor sister-in-law, this was like the first sister's outing that I planned with her, and you know, I'm there with my tripod in my fall glory, and it was so hot. I think it was like 80 degrees that day. And I thought I should check the weather before dressing up in my autumn wear for Instagram. Graham mom fail, I know. Instagram moms. What are our kids going to think of us when they reach adulthood and they grow up with these crazy Instagram moms? I'm hoping my son is like, oh, my mom was really creative and did all these photos. He's probably just going to roll his eyes and be like, oh, I can't believe it. So think about those ways to boost happiness. Another thing I love to do, and I was talking about this on my Patreon, you can go on over there. It's all my self-care. There's a ton of different tiers depending on kind of what you're interested in. It's a really fun spot. Great community. We do live chats every month. I love it. But I was just talking on there about my obsession with tea, a whole little tea cabinet that I've shown you. And I like to change up the season by switching up what I'm drinking. So this time of year, I'm gonna, do a little bit more spice-flavored teas. I'm gonna do some calming evening teas, whereas in the summertime I do a bunch of iced teas, right? which sometimes I even drink hot, but just like fruity teas, hibiscus teas, things like that. This time of year I shift over to a little bit earthier, kind of that grounding, nice relaxation. And maybe that's a natural way for my body to just be calm, you know? Come winter time, when I get a little bit sad from the weather, then I switch it up to a lot of hot cocoa. Because hot cocoa is a booster for me. And that's where I started doing like, you know, protein powder, kind of healthy, sometimes do a little green powder, tiny bit of green powder in the hot cocoa, but that's kind of my seasonal drinks. So find drinks that you can make at home that are little tiny bits of self-care. You can sip even with, you know, the baby spitting up on you, right? And still just sip and have a moment of happiness. Because giving ourselves a little space, which is what Mama field trips are all about, Mama adventures, is just giving ourselves space. Tending to that space, nurturing it so that we have a little space for us to focus on our emotions, I think makes a huge difference. I really do. Okay, I'm looking at how long this video is. I feel like I've rambled and chatted, but I just wanted to come on and talk about this because I know this is a big season for people's SAD to kick in, and I want us all to be happy. I think that that's like the best thing about social media is sharing ways that we make ourselves and our families happy, right? And that's what I love. That's the content I'm always hunting for. This isn't how you should hunt, by the way. I'm out hunting for happiness. That's not good. Okay, biscuits. I will see you in the next vlogaroo. Thank you for being my wonderful Wholesome Feed family. Giant hug. I hope that your fall is kicking off really nicely, that you are just having a good time and, you know, go easy on yourself. You don't have to do it all. You can't meet everybody's expectations, but you can search for happiness in a really productive way where you're cultivating it in your own life. See you around.